He was just the janitor, until a proud black belt challenged him to a fight. And what happened next left the entire martial arts gym in stunned silence. It was a quiet Thursday evening in downtown Atlanta. Inside a popular martial arts school, the floor echoed with the sound of bodies falling on mats, students shouting, and punches hitting pads. The smell of sweat mixed with the sharp scent of cleaning spray. Among the noise and energy, one man moved silently in the background. His name was Marcus Reed. He wore plain overalls, old sneakers, and pushed a mop across the smooth floor. No one paid him much attention. To them, he was just the janitor, quiet, shy, and always cleaning up after them. But Marcus had eyes like fire, deep and focused. He watched everything, every punch, every kick, every mistake. He never spoke about it, but he noticed everything. At the center of the gym stood Derek Shaw, the head instructor. Derek was tall, muscular, and loud. He was proud of his black belt, which he always wore tightly around his waist. He loved to show off his strength, especially in front of new students. "Come on! Hit harder!" Derek yelled. "This isn't ballet." Students laughed nervously, trying to impress him. Then Derek's eyes landed on Marcus. He smirked. "Hey you! Yeah you, the janitor with the mop," Derek shouted, pointing. The entire class turned. Marcus stopped mopping. He looked up slowly. "How about a quick demonstration?" Derek asked, grinning. "I bet you've never been in a real fight, right?" The room went silent. Marcus didn't answer. Derek stepped closer. "Come on, don't be scared. Just a friendly spar. Let the class see what a real man looks like." Some students giggled. Others looked uncomfortable. A young woman named Jenna Lee frowned. She had been training for months and didn't like the way Derek talked down to Marcus. But Marcus didn't react. He placed the mop against the wall and calmly walked to the center of the mat. His face was calm. His body relaxed. But his eyes, those eyes were sharp. "All right," Marcus said softly. "But I only have 10 minutes. I still have to clean the bathroom." A few students laughed nervously. Derek smirked and tied his belt tighter. "You're gonna regret saying yes, old man." As the two men faced off, Jenna leaned over to a classmate and whispered, "Something feels off. He's too calm." The class gathered around. Phones came out. Cameras started rolling. But Marcus didn't care. As Derek bowed stiffly, Marcus gave a simple nod. Then the spar began. 15 years earlier, Marcus Reed wasn't always a janitor. He used to be known as Ghost Reed, a 5-time MMA world champion, undefeated in the ring. But he wasn't flashy. He didn't talk much. He just fought with focus and grace. People said he moved like smoke, hard to hit, impossible to hold. But after a tragic accident involving his younger sister, a crash that took her life while he was out fighting overseas, Marcus disappeared from the world. He blamed himself. He vanished from TV, from interviews, from the fight scene. He turned away from the spotlight and picked up a mop. He promised himself he'd live a quiet life. No more fighting. No more fame. Just peace. But that night, on that mat, his silence was mistaken for weakness. Back in the present, Derek charged in first, full of confidence. He threw a strong punch at Marcus's head. But Marcus wasn't there. He had stepped to the side, barely moving, and Derek missed completely. Before Derek could react, Marcus tapped his shoulder lightly and whispered, "Don't lead with your chin." Derek growled and threw another punch, harder, faster. But again, Marcus moved like wind. He didn't hit. He didn't block. He flowed. Students began to murmur. "What is happening? Did you see that? Who is this guy?" Jenna stared in amazement. Marcus wasn't just lucky. He was trained. No, he was a master. Derek grew angry. He charged again, this time throwing a roundhouse kick. But Marcus ducked under it and gently touched Derek's leg. "Off balance," he said quietly. The class gasped. Then, with one simple step, Marcus placed a light palm on Derek's chest and pushed. Derek flew backward and landed on the mat with a loud thud. Silence. Complete silence. Phones stopped recording. Jaws dropped. Derek didn't get up immediately. He looked stunned, embarrassed, lost. Jenna, wide-eyed, grabbed her phone and typed into Google, "Marcus Ghost Reed." The first photo that popped up was him, years younger, in gloves, standing over a knocked-out opponent. MMA world champion. 5-time title holder. Undefeated. She showed it to the students around her. One by one, the whispers began. "It's him. That's him." Derek sat up slowly. His pride shattered. He looked up at Marcus, who stood still, breathing slowly. Marcus didn't smile. He didn't brag. He reached out and offered his hand. Derek hesitated, then took it. Marcus helped him up. "Real strength," Marcus said softly, "isn't about beating someone down. It's about lifting people up." Then he walked over, picked up his mop, and returned to cleaning. Jenna watched him closely, tears in her eyes. That night, the entire gym saw something rare. Not just skill, but grace. The air in the gym was thick with tension. Everyone's eyes were locked on the two men standing on the mat. Derek Shaw, loud and proud in his black belt, and Marcus Reed, the janitor with calloused hands and calm eyes. Derek smirked and called out, "Ready to get mopped, Marcus?" A few students chuckled nervously. Marcus didn't answer. He simply bowed, the traditional martial arts way. Respectfully, calmly, like a man who knew exactly who he was. Derek didn't bow back. He just raised his fists and started bouncing side to side, acting like it was a joke. Then came the first strike. A loud "Hiya" echoed as Derek rushed forward, swinging a strong roundhouse kick. Whoosh! He missed. Marcus hadn't even moved fast. He just slid slightly to the side, like wind dodging a falling leaf. Derek blinked. Another strike. A punch. Fast. Sharp. But again, Marcus wasn't there. He had gently twisted, and the punch slid past his shoulder like it hit air. Now the room went quiet. No more giggles. Just silence, and the squeak of Derek's feet on the mat. Someone whispered, "Wait, what's going on?" Jenna, one of the senior students, furrowed her brow. She was known for being sharp, both with her kicks and her instincts. And something felt very off. Derek charged again, this time throwing a flurry of punches. He was fast, strong, but Marcus moved like water, fluid, effortless, always one step ahead. Then, without warning, Marcus stepped in. Just one step, and with his open palm, he gently tapped Derek's chest. It wasn't a punch, not a slam, just a calm, controlled touch. Thud. Derek collapsed, flat on his back. He wasn't hurt, but he wasn't moving either. His breath was short. His pride shattered. The room stood still. Even the mop bucket in the corner seemed to freeze. Jenna slowly walked over, eyes wide, and crouched beside Derek. She wasn't checking on him. She was staring at Marcus. "Who are you?" she asked softly. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "Just the janitor." "No, you're not." Jenna stood, pulled out her phone, and typed something in. Then she gasped. She turned the screen to everyone. There in bold letters, Marcus the Ghost Reed, 5-time MMA world champion, retired, disappeared after tragic sister's death. The students crowded around, jaws dropping. They looked back at Marcus, who now stood quietly at the edge of the mat, eyes full of peace and pain. Derek sat up slowly, face pale, his confidence gone. Marcus walked over, knelt beside him, and said in a soft voice, "You don't earn respect by shouting. You earn it by listening, by being better inside, not just outside. Derek said nothing. The man who had mocked the janitor now couldn't even look him in the eye. The dojo was still silent. But this time, it wasn't awkward. It was respect. The kind of silence that only happens after truth reveals itself. That night, Jenna stayed behind. As Marcus grabbed his mop again, she walked over and asked, "Why didn't you tell anyone who you were?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Because titles don't make you strong. How you carry yourself does." She nodded. "You know, you could teach here." "Actually teach." He shook his head gently. "Not ready for that. But maybe one day." Then he walked away, mop in hand, back to his usual work. No celebration, no applause, just a quiet man with a past, and a lesson no one would ever forget. The next morning, the dojo felt different. The mirrors still lined the walls. The punching bag still hung quietly. But something had shifted. People didn't walk in talking loudly anymore. They bowed a little lower. They stretched a little more carefully. They remembered that respect was not just for black belts, but for every soul walking through that door. And somewhere in the corner, as usual, Marcus Reed mopped the floor, quiet, steady, unseen by most until now. But today, people noticed. Jenna was the first. She approached him with 2 water bottles and handed one over. "No mop today," she said with a small smile. "Let me do it." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You serious?" She nodded. "You taught me more yesterday than I've learned in 2 years here." Marcus chuckled, but handed her the mop. "All right then. Clean with your hips, not your arms." They both laughed. It was the first time Marcus had truly smiled in a long time. Later that day, as the advanced class warmed up, Coach Simmons, the owner of the gym, arrived. He was a strong, seasoned man with a serious look. He had missed the event the day before and had only heard stories, wild stories, about the janitor who floored Derek Shaw with a single tap. He walked straight to Marcus. "I need to talk to you," Coach said. Marcus stood, wiped his hands, and nodded. They went into the small office, where a dusty old trophy case stood in the corner. Coach pointed at a photo in the case. "You know who that is?" Marcus looked closely. It was a younger version of himself. Hands raised, champion belt slung across his shoulder. "I forgot that was even there," Marcus muttered. Coach crossed his arms. "Why didn't you tell me you were that Marcus Reed?" Marcus looked down. "Because I didn't come here to fight. I came here to heal." Coach's voice softened. "What happened?" Marcus took a deep breath. "My sister. She was my world. She believed in me when no one else did. She died in a car crash on her way to my championship match. I won, but when I held that belt, it felt empty." Silence. Coach nodded slowly. "I'm sorry. I left everything behind. The fame, the money. I just wanted peace. I took this job to stay close to martial arts, without being in it." Coach was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I won't force you to teach, but I'd like you to be part of something bigger here. Mentor these kids, even if it's just one at a time. You've got something none of us do: humility." Marcus didn't answer. But that night, after everyone left, he stayed behind and stepped onto the mat. He practiced slowly, thoughtfully, like he was dancing with memories. And one by one, over the next few weeks, students began staying after class. Not to watch Derek anymore, but to watch Marcus move. He never officially taught. He never asked them to copy him. But they learned. By watching. By listening. By feeling. Derek? He had changed too. Quiet. Focused. Humble. He even helped Marcus mop one day. "I deserved what happened," Derek admitted. "Thank you for not embarrassing me worse." Marcus gave him a look. "I didn't do it to embarrass you. I did it to wake you up." Derek nodded. Well, I'm wide awake now. Months passed. The gym grew. Not in size, but in spirit. New students came in and were told stories about the janitor who moved like wind. The man who defeated ego without throwing a punch. Marcus never asked for credit. He never claimed titles. But in every quiet nod, every respectful bow, every focused breath on the mat, his presence lived on. They called him the Ghost, not because he was gone, but because he moved through the gym without noise, yet left a mark no one could erase. And somewhere deep in his heart, Marcus knew he was finally home.